Why would you burn your money by using mass marketing? That is completely absurd. Without proper marketing of that loyalty app, informing the customers and everything, it's just going to end up being a flop. Get away from mass marketing. From idea to a successful implementation of a loyalty app. Today, we're going to discuss the steps required in order to implement a successful loyalty app. So let's get into the details. You may be searching for a loyalty app, or you may have already implemented one, but it just hasn't been successful. So let's discuss about the ideas and what it would take to roll out a successful loyalty app. So let's break it down and go over the 4 primary steps that are required in order to implement a successful app. We're going to start with defining our objectives and our end goals. Then we're going to talk about how to integrate and roll out a loyalty app. Then we'll talk about brand awareness, marketing the loyalty app in order to get people to download it. And then we'll talk about monetization and return on investment. How do we actually make money by rolling out a loyalty app? Then we'll cover some of the pitfalls and the common mistakes that everybody makes, and we want to make sure we avoid those, so we'll discuss those as well. So step 1, defining your objectives. What are the business goals? The very first thing you want to do is you want to have a clear idea of your end goal and objectives, your end results. As it's famously said, if you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail. You don't want to fall into that trap. And have a clear, concise, and measurable goal. What is it that you're trying to accomplish by implementing this loyalty app? Is it to increase sales and revenue? If so, how? How are you going to increase sales and revenue by implementing a loyalty app? Is it to learn customer data and the customer behavior? If so, why is that customer behavior so important to you? And then lastly, if you had all of your customers' data through, let's say, the loyalty app or CDP platform, how are you going to monetize that data? Do you have the means and the resources to monetize that data? Understanding your goals will allow you to create a loyalty app that will better align the app with your business vision and your end goals. Otherwise, you'll be following the herd and you will be doing everything that everybody else is doing and making the same mistakes, and it would just ultimately lead to a failure. If you're more like most restaurants, you're trying to implement a loyalty app because you're trying to get an email address or a phone number for a customer so you could market back to them somehow and get them back into the restaurant more frequently and get them to spend more money. But again, if that's the end results and the end goal, there's a better way to do that without really implementing a loyalty app. So we'll discuss that towards the end, so stay tuned for that one. Step 2, integrating your loyalty app into all of your other systems in your restaurant. Rolling out a loyalty app, it's not always going to have the same desired outcome that one may expect. Just because you released the app or implemented the loyalty app, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a line of people downloading that app. That is just simply not going to happen. In today's environment, most people are not willing to give you an email address or a phone number, or yet download an app, another app, right, on top of all the other apps that they have, that they're only going to use once a week and they're going to get a $5 discount. That is just not going to happen. So set your expectations and make sure that you don't set yourself up for failure. If you're implementing a loyalty app, don't try to use it as a digital coupon book. It's just not going to work. It's not going to have the same impact that it did a decade ago, where you would just send out these coupons and everybody would respond to it and come in and etc. So make sure you don't do that, because ultimately when you do that, you're going to devalue your brand and you're going to attract the least profitable customers, the bargain hunters. So you don't want to implement a loyalty app and make it into a digital coupon book and bring in the least profitable customers into the restaurant, because that's going to impact your net margins, your profits, and again, ultimately it's going to devalue your brand. The next thing is to ensure that the loyalty app integrates to all of your other systems. So you want to make sure that it talks to your online ordering, to your customer feedback, to your waitlist and reservation, and also very critically, it has to integrate to some sort of a customer data platform, a CDP. If you don't know what a CDP is, or if you haven't dig too far into the CDP platform, we've got another podcast that discusses that CDP platform in detail. I highly encourage you to listen to that, because the CDP will allow you to do things beyond just the loyalty app. So the CDP is more important than having a loyalty, but loyalty is part of that whole entire CDP platform. Step 3. Now the hard work begins. Marketing that loyalty app and letting all of your customers know in order to get them to join that loyalty app, and also giving the customer a very good reason why they should download another app, or why should they give you their phone number or email address. You have to train your staff. You have to make sure that they know how to explain that loyalty app to your customers, the benefits, the advantages, and you need to be very clear with that customer. Here's why you should download this app. Without proper marketing of that loyalty app, informing the customers and everything, it's just going to end up being a flop. You'll spend a ton of money and you'll end up losing your time, money, resources that you invested into it. And again, it's just going to attract those bargain hunters, and that's all you're going to get. So to put things in perspective, Starbucks spends hundreds of millions a year advertising their loyalty app, and they only have, just depends, anywhere from 15 to 20% based on the numbers that are out there. They have about 24 million people in that Starbucks rewards program, but that's only a fraction of their customers. So don't set your expectations too high, because you're not going to be able to get more than 15 to 20% of your customers to join that app, no matter what you do. So as we just highlighted with the Starbucks rewards program, they have 15 to 20%. So you don't want to focus on that 20% of the customers and discount everybody else and ignore the other 80%. You got to make sure that you have programs that are built for those loyalty app customers. However, you also want to make sure that you don't completely forget about the other 80% of your customers that are visiting, who are not loyalty members, and they're not part of that loyalty program. So be sure that you figure out the balance between the two, so you don't lose out on the 80% because you're so tunnel visioned on that 20% of the customers. So step 4, monetization. Perhaps the most important part of your loyalty app is how do you monetize the data that you've gathered from your customers, from that 20%. A lot of smaller restaurant chains and even larger brands, in fact, I was at a FS Tech show and one of the executives was on stage and was saying, look, today we're still mass marketing to our customers. We're still sending the same Kids Eat Free offer to all of your customers. That is not what you want to do. You've spent tons of money building that loyalty app. You've spent more time, more resources rolling it out, informing all your customers. You've gotten people to join that app, and then you end up mass marketing to them. You send out a Kids Eat Free offer to all of those customers, even though half of them or 70% of them don't even have kids. So why would you do that? Why would you burn your money by using mass marketing? That is completely absurd. You can't do that with your loyalty customers, because they'll eventually just leave, unsubscribe, and go somewhere else. If you don't have the proper resources in-house to monetize that customer data and personalize it using, again, personalized marketing messages, then don't even bother implementing a loyalty app, because it's just going to end up being a flop, and you're just going to upset your customers and they're going to go elsewhere anyway. So don't waste your time, resources, if you don't have the manpower, if you don't have the tech stack or the knowledge of the how-tos to implement a successful loyalty app. It's just gonna end up being a disaster, and again, you'll go back to those bargain hunters and you'll bring those least profitable customers, which is just gonna drive your margins even lower, and then you're gonna have to end up either scrapping the project or just run with it, because you've got customers that are on there, but then you'll end up losing money on all of those customers. Once you've implemented that loyalty app, the target goal is that you understand the guest behavior. You know who they are, how much money do they spend with your restaurant, what is their satisfaction score, hopefully you'll have that information, how often do they come in, what is their favorite items, which locations do they visit, all of this data that feeds into the loyalty app. And if you have a CDP app, hopefully all that information is being pushed into the CDP. And personalizing marketing based on that behavior is where you're actually going to turn a mediocre loyalty program into a very successful loyalty program that differentiates you from everybody else. Again, just forget mass marketing. You can't do mass marketing and focus on personalized marketing to each individual customer based on their behavior. And there are plenty of examples outside of restaurant industry of companies who do that. Take Netflix, for example. Based on the movies you watched, they'll recommend you other movies that you would enjoy to watch. If you're on Amazon, you're shopping because you're buying this item, you should also try that. And you could do that in your restaurant as well. So if somebody's browsing your menu, you could have beautiful digital menus that says, hey, this steak pairs perfectly with this wine. Or if you like this hamburger, you should try these other hamburgers as well because they're just as delicious. So you want to make sure that that personalization goes all the way down to that guest and it's personalized per each individual customer. And again, get away from mass marketing. All right, let's talk about the mistakes to avoid when implementing a loyalty app. The very first thing you want to avoid is devaluing your brand. Loyalty programs are not digital coupon books. You're not always supposed to be giving out, hey, $5 off here or $10 off here or buy one get one free, etc. You don't want to treat that loyalty program and change the behavior of your existing customers, the loyalty customers, to be bargain hunters. You don't want to train them to only come in when you're giving them free stuff. So you want to treat your loyalty app similar to like Priority Pass or TSA PreCheck. You just walk in and you get special treatment. So think of ways to create those amazing experiences. And loyalty apps do not have to be they don't always have to include free stuff. It just has to be amazing experiences. Use the loyalty app and those customers to elevate the guest experience and create these amazing experiences that essentially turns that normal customer into a regular visitor, a frequent visitor to keep coming back into the restaurant. So we always used to visit this Mexican restaurant, and every time we walked in, the manager would immediately fetch us, seat us at the table, and within minutes we would get a flight of guacamole, queso, and salsa coming right on the table, on the house for free, of course. But every time we went in, we spent at least $100. So that allows us to feel like a VIP customer to that location. So every time anybody said, hey, where do you want to go eat? Oh, let's go over here. Why? Because we knew we were going to get that VIP treatment. After about like 6-7 months, they moved that manager to a different location, and all of the sudden that VIP treatment went away. The amazing experience was gone. So now I haven't been there for at least 6 months. Again, that goes to say you could utilize the loyalty application and the status of that customer to treat them differently, to elevate that guest experience, to create these loyalty customers, actual loyalty customers, and not bargain hunters. The second thing you want to avoid is mass marketing. That is just absolutely unacceptable. In this day of an age where you have all these different tools and all these different technology stacks that allows you to personalize your marketing to your customers, you don't want to get caught up in this whole mass marketing situation. You don't want to be sending out kids eat free offer to all of your customers when 75% of them don't even have kids. That's absurd. You can't do that. You're gonna just you lose the customers. So put yourself in the shoes of the customer. If you didn't have kids and you constantly got kids eat free offers, or if you don't drink and you're constantly getting alcohol specials, or if you're vegetarian and you're getting steak specials, when will it be before you say, you know what, enough is enough, unsubscribe, move on, and just go to a different restaurant and get out of that program? Why? Because it's irrelevant, because they're using mass marketing. The whole concept and notion of return on investment on a loyalty program is to learn the customer behavior and use that to personalize messaging in order to be relevant to that customer, so you get a higher ROI. So for example, again, what items do I order? How many times do I come in? What are my favorite locations that I'm visiting? Using that information to personalize messaging to that individual customer. So the last mistake to avoid is not sharing that data with your frontline workers. So the last thing you want to do is get all that information and not share it with the frontline workers and the staff that actually have the opportunity to elevate the guest experience and make that exceptional experience for that customer. You want to make sure that whatever data you have is in the hands of those frontline workers. So for example, if a customer walks in and they join the waitlist and reservation app, you want that hostess to know if this is a VIP customer or if they have a peanut allergy, so they change their tone and they elevate that guest experience right off the bat. Let's talk about an example. Customer walks in the door, they join the waitlist. The server immediately sees that obviously that customer is a VIP customer. You have a 1 hour wait. Now the server can say, "Hi, Mr. Parker, I noticed that you're a VIP customer of ours. We do have an hour wait. However, considering your status, I'm gonna bump you to the top of the list and I'll get you seated in the next 5 minutes." That is how you elevate, and that is how you use that loyalty app and you put it in front of that hostess so that they can make these decisions. And by the way, you have to empower them to be able to do that, to elevate that guest experience. Why? Because that loyalty customer, Mr. Parker, who's coming in and he doesn't want to wait an hour in line, but he's also, the lifetime value of that customer is so high that it just doesn't make sense to have him wait an hour in the line. And then you could even further personalize it and give more tools. So if they have a peanut allergy, that could also be noted. So now you're saying, "Oh, and I noticed that you have a peanut allergy. I'm going to let the chef know. I'm going to let the server know. So don't worry, I've got you covered." So again, it's all about elevation of experiences. A loyalty app is not just going to be, giving free food away, as we've been saying that over and over again. It's about creating those experiences. And people who are visiting restaurants, they're not just going in there just to have food. Yes, of course, food is a big part of it, but they're going in there for an experience. They're going in because they're celebrating a birthday, or they're on a date, or whatever the case may be. They're wanting to create that experience. And the examples that I gave earlier about the restaurant that we went in and the manager always sat us down, that was impressive because every time I had an important business meeting, I would try to schedule it there, because I knew if I just walk in there, I would get seated. And at a couple of occasions they're like, "Oh, they must know you really well," or "You come here often," or "What happened here?" So again, it differentiates me from every other customer, and it made a great first impression on those business meetings. So again, put those information, give the right tools to your staff and put it in the hands of the frontline workers so they can use that to elevate that guest experience. So the better way, we talked earlier that there's a better way to do this information without actually having a loyalty app, or if you're going after that customer data. If you haven't heard of customer data platforms, there's a lot of information going around right now, and restaurants are starting to slowly realize the value of having a customer data platform or a CDP. So listen to our CDP podcast if you haven't, but in short, that allows all of your customer details, from point of sale, online ordering, loyalty app, gift cards, customer experience management. It allows all of that data to feed into the CDP platform. And now you have not just that information for loyalty customers, but you have it for almost all of your customers. And a key differentiator between a normal CDP and a really good CDP is the type of data that's in there. If the CDP is not transactional, meaning it doesn't have transactional data, then forget it. Don't even go any further. But what you want to ensure is that CDP platform is actionable. None of this data makes any difference if it's not actionable. If you cannot monetize that data, it's useless. So having customer data is useless. Having transactional data about your customers, okay, now you have my attention, but if it's actionable, transactional data, now you have my full attention and you have my entire checkbook at your disposal. Why? Because if I'm able to monetize that data, then the question is not, well, how much does it cost? The question is, you tell me it's $12,000 a year to generate $150,000 in sales. What if I give you a check for $24,000? Can you increase my sales by $300,000? Again, it becomes a return on investment. So if you haven't, definitely look into a CDP platform and listen to our podcast about the CDP. In conclusion, a loyalty app is just a small part of the overall picture and the overall tech stack within your restaurant. It's just a source to gather transactional data about your customer, but most importantly, it has to be actionable. So a loyalty app must integrate into all of your system. Make sure you communicate it effectively with your customers so they are aware that you've rolled this program out and the benefits of it. Never ever use that customer data to mass market to them, and put that information in the hands of your frontline workers so they can treat every single customer like a VIP customer. We hope that you found this content helpful. We're always trying to challenge the status quo and give you a different perspective instead of the whole traditional way of it's been done that way and we should always continue doing it that way. No, that's not what you want to do. You want to change the way that everything has been done and adapt to the new technologies, the new tools that are available. So stay tuned for our other podcasts that are coming out, and hopefully again you found the content to be helpful. Thank you. Here at Milagro, we've solved all of these complex problems of the loyalty and the integration and everything that we've discussed in this podcast. So if you're interested to learn more, contact us and schedule a demo.